job because I believe that there's a
Wow.
place between there's a place to strengthen the relationship between the U.S. and Africa. As you know, today News Africa focuses on U.S.-Africa relations, and I believe that I find fulfillment when I do the right thing, when I ask the right question, when I seek the truth, when I continue to push Karine Jean-Pierre, who has discriminated against me. Uh, for months now. I find fulfillment when I continue to, just push for the truth. Been really hard covering the White House. It's been held. And I don't know how I was able to, sustain my strength. Um, I've worked really hard. And even without money, I've not received a salary for the past 3 years, but I kept doing my job because I believe that
Wow.
between, there's a place to strengthen the relationship between the U.S. and Africa. As you know, today News Africa focuses on U.S.-Africa relations, and I believe that I find fulfillment when I do the right thing, when I ask the right question, when I seek the truth, when I continue to push Karine Jean-Pierre, who has discriminated against me uh, for months now. I find fulfillment when I continue to, just push for the truth. Been really hard covering the White House. It's been held. And I don't know how I was able to, sustain my strength. Um, I've worked really hard, and even without money, I've not received a salary for the past 3 years, but I kept doing my job because I believe that
Wow.
between, there's a place to strengthen the relationship between the U.S. and Africa. As you know, today News Africa focuses on U.S.-Africa relations, and I believe that I find fulfillment when I do the right thing, when I ask the right question, when I seek the truth, when I continue to push Karine Jean-Pierre, who has discriminated against me.
How dare you?
We did them twice on Sunday.
Oh my God.
We love and we served Monday. We're second. 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. You're on the Innervision Universe. J. Now C. This year has now become next year. And you're in it. We're in it. We're all in it together.
It's running out? Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ah, yes.
Praise God. Made it back to the
Oh, man.
States. Johnnie J.
Oh,
You just went to Amsterdam over the Christmas holiday.
oh yeah, definitely.
How dare you?
And I think Greta Thunberg didn't like the fact that I did go over to Amsterdam because I was
She doesn't
stomping
like
in
to
her.
People's Parade, it seems like.
Yes, I heard this guy was he was going back and forth with her because she was, he was saying that he owns like 23 cars and that's what he's going to do to protect the climate change.
This Andrew Tate guy or whatever.
Yes, I thought
I
that
tell
was
ya,
so funny.
I can't keep up with any of it. I made a New Year's resolution, folks, to not keep up with anything in 2023. I'm going to see how big of a hole I can dig so that I can bury my head in the sand.
Oh, let me let people know that video that you saw was from Fox News, and that reporter that you see, the African reporter that was always going back and forth with Jordan Bernay, whatever her name is, he was saying something about, and at first when I first saw it, I didn't understand it, but now I understand. As a reporter, he said he wasn't getting paid for the last 3 years. And I'm not sure, and talking about things that go up. Now I can understand maybe if you don't get paid maybe one day, but 3 years, man, I said, I would be complaining to high heavens. And I guess I'm just that kind of person that I once got fired from a job because this guy kept paying us 1 week and 2 weeks late. And he would just do that. He was an alcoholic ex-DJ they put him in a position of manager because maybe they couldn't find anybody else. And he was not, he should have stayed a drunk DJ at the Supreme Court, and that was the Adams Mark Hotel. But now they are under new management. But he would do that to the dishwasher. He would do it to the person that's standing at the door to greet people, and he would do it to some bands that he would just not fill out the paperwork. And it was one band he couldn't do it because it was 9 black guys in the band, and that was Isaac Point. And so I think Isaac Point says, if you are late with my check, I'm going to break your fat little DJ legs. But if he could get away with it, he did that. So for this guy to say that he wasn't paid 3 years from the press corps, and I need to look more into that for reporting. Wow.
Yeah, that is amazing. You run a school that teaches blind and otherwise physically disabled folks the business of how to be a podcaster, how to be a content creator. And, you're transparent with the things that you're doing with that school. Tell us a little bit about what that school is, what it's all about.
Yeah. And let me also let me do this. Let me
got our sponsors too.
Yeah. Go ahead, talk about the sponsors because I need to turn off this share thing.
Well, I also want to thank Christian Brothers Moving Company. They're based in Phoenix, Texas, and also in the city of Englewood, Colorado. So if you've got some moving needs you need taken care of, get a hold of Brian down at Christian Brothers Moving Company. We also have the Denver Art Relief Fund, the Colorado Art Relief Fund, the Denver Art Foundation. Let's see, Wells Fargo Foundation. There's a couple of other folks. We want to thank them as well. If you use Amazon still, we are registered with them as a nonprofit. So Amazon Smile, any sort of gift that you might purchase or just some supplies these days, food is a big thing, so be prepared. If you purchase big ticket items or anything of that nature, 5% through the Amazon Smile will come back to Innervision FM. Don't forget paypal.me/Innervision is the way to donate.
Okay, thank you for giving me that. Okay, I had to stop all the screen sharing. So now I guess we are focused now. All right. Well, the question was about the school. That was the question, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what we're trying to do over here, this is kind of like unique. I'm trying to gather up enough like blind DJs that are either in veterans or non-veteran. Oh, by the way, if you notice, I have a beard. I grew a beard over while I was out in Amsterdam, and I decided wintertime I will have a beard, and then summertime I'll cut it off. Maybe we'll see. So if you're seeing me with the Innervision shirt and the beard, I'm trying to match up to my co-host there. So we try to do something very unique where we want to hire like some blind and other podcasters and so forth, and create a unique radio station that's going to talk about the opinions of blind people and be entertaining as well as informative. And we're really working on getting the word out. Last year, man, I spent a lot of money promoting, getting the website put together, deleting artists that we weren't working with anymore and just reshaping it. And then hired a guy to do our Google, and it must have spent like close to $10,000 last year, which I promised someone very special that no more spending on credit, but get these grants in and get some donations in and pay that off, and then just operate in the black. But sometimes you got to pay to play, and a lot of people like that African. I didn't meet anybody like that African guy. When people wanted to fix my website, they said, "Oh, how much? 3,000 here." And what do you do? You say, "Well, I don't agree with that, but they got a team, they got to pay, and so you pay it." When someone says, "We'll help you write a grant, 900 or 2,000 here," what do? You want to get to another level, so you pay the play. So as you run a business, sometimes you got to pay people to do things that either you can't do or they can do. So, ladies and gentlemen, we definitely do need your support. And as Alan said, you can do the paypal.me/InnervisionDenver. That's paypal.me/InnervisionDenver. And as you understand that our bills in the month of December went up to close to $10,000, we can definitely use some help with that. So when you see this later on, you can I'm sorry. Let me close this out because my Twitter is talking. Stop talking to me, Twitter. You can support our station in the new year and get those donations in. And Alan, I didn't put it in there, but Eeny Meeny Foundation finally sent over the grant Saturday.
Praise God.
I've been waiting since September.
That, and if you want to become a sponsor, hit us up at info@Innervision FM.
Yeah. So we've been waiting since September. It's not a big grant, but every little bit helps, and that's why I had to use the credit card rather than. It wasn't a big grant. It's like it wasn't a big grant, but I had to. It would have been nice if it was September, October, November, December, but man, and I thought that Michael B. Hancock might have spent it, because I heard that he did this thing where he defunded the police $5 million. Then he said, "Oh, that's a bad idea. I gotta refund the police." What a bunch of idiots, man. It's like, But anyway, don't get me started on Michael B. Hancock. But anyway, so we have a bunch of topics today, and as you can see, what will be going up in 2023, inflation, ? Yeah. And but we got the scripture. I was reading this morning in 1 Timothy chapter.
I think you said 5 verse.
Chapter 5, verse 4. Yes. And if you want, I can go down there.
All right.
And okay, here we go. I got
the thing here deals with the way things ought to be versus what we're doing in society these days.
Yeah, okay. So 1 Timothy 5, verse 4. But if a widow has children, and this is talking about widows. And so I think I was talking to my daughter about this last night, because her stepdad, who has a daughter, he's always bugging her for money, or he'll ask anybody for money. And I'm thinking, like, you got this young 20-something-year-old daughter. What is she doing to give you $40, right? Instead of asking my daughter. And I know it's nice to be a generous giver, but I think this guy takes it to the nth degree. But anyway, let me continue here. Okay, has children or grandchildren. These should learn first to put their religion into practice by caring for their own family, and so repaying their parents and grandparents, for this is pleasing to God. Now, this is not taught a lot, and that's why we have all these nursing homes and all this kind of stuff. And because they figure, like, if you're not going to teach your kids moral stuff, then when you get older, and then sometimes I know people that don't even know the Bible, that they taught their children these simple facts. And in Acts, in the book of Acts, God says something about He'll put these words in the hearts of people. And I've definitely experienced that. But there's some people, because me and my daughter was talking, there's a lot of stupid people in this world that this is not even a concept. And these young widows, they're full of sensuality. And he said, don't make one of these women put them on the list of being helped if they're under 6 years old, because they have these sexual desires and that takes over the drive and they want to go and get married, and then they will go off here. Or they might say, well, if you put them on the list, then we're taking care of her family and she's just having a good old time doing whatever she's doing. And then they had a specific thing for the women that are over 60 must have not been unfaithful to their husband, must be seen with a good reputation in the community, and none of this stuff. I don't even think even in some of the churches I went to, because is there. I guess it's just assumed that everybody just knows it, but no, maybe everybody doesn't know it. And maybe that should be brought up, because you see a lot of irresponsible things going on within the walls of churches. Anyway,
That is a mouthful. You find that in 1 Timothy, starting in chapter 4, roundabouts verse 5-4.
Chapter 5, verse 4.
Chapter 5, verse 4, going all the way through 9.
Yeah.
There's some good lessons in there, and there are actual consequences in there if they're not followed. And the person ends up like this, where we forget this kind of thing, well, we're worse than non-believers.
Yes, and then there's a lot of stuff, a lot of. I mean, I remember, like, back in the 80s when I was going to the church, I had this was a singles pastor, and I remember he walked by this room, right? And this guy had convinced this girl to pray over his cross. And
What?
and he intervened and said, yes, you are supposed to lay hands on someone to pray for them, but I don't think they meant lay hands in private like this.
Yeah. Wow. So what you talk about, Johnny, is religion can be used for all kinds of things, and so it gets bad names. It definitely gets bad names. So, Lord, we want to, in the new year, acknowledge that we want to acknowledge you in all of our ways, instead of acknowledging us and you stamp something that just isn't right.
Yes.
So help us to be more faithful servants to you, Lord.
And the reason I know about this, because he came out in front of all the singles, because he said, I'm not going to keep it between you two. I'm going to, and he didn't name names, but I bet their faces turned red when he started talking about this. He didn't keep it as ear, because that's how I found out about it. He didn't say, Johnny, let me bring aside. He said, I'm going to bring this out in front of the whole singles group. So you'll know that this is not acceptable. And if you're doing this, you better stop it.
Wow. That's truth works is, you think you got a lid on it. You think that you're going along just fine. And suddenly it just starts coming out, leaking out through the corners of the doors, and pretty drip, drip, drip becomes a little bit of a flood.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get to our topic, so just bear with us a little bit, because I when I saw this, I started to think about these old stories. I was also going to this one church, and the pastor was running, and so his daughter had started dating this guy, and she was singing in the choir, and he says, "Well, while you're living, it was fine when you were dating, but now you're living with the guy, but you guys haven't married." So he said, "You had to get out of the choir." And she got mad. She knows this guy. She knows her dad. His dad, he doesn't play. He doesn't play. And she got mad, but they got married, and they're still married today. And this happened like, I don't know. Let me see, how many years ago? Man, this must have happened like I gotta remember, 2000. Maybe 2003, I think. Yeah, but it was like, I just like his position. He says, "I'm the pastor of the church, and you're singing in front of the church, and everybody knows that you're living with this guy, and I can't let that continue, and me preaching this, and you're doing that."
So they ended up getting married 20 years ago, and they're still married today.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. A good guy. He's a good, good guy. Good guy. I know him, and he's a friend of mine on Facebook. And like I said, I know the pretty much the whole family, because I just had a relationship with this pastor for a long time. But I just like that, and it's like, yeah, okay, guys. Yes, it is difficult sometimes to stand up like that, but your kids will thank you in the end that you did stand up. Yes,
we're a peculiar people. We think differently than is now acceptable and normal.
Yes,
that used to be the normal. That the way that we used to the way that we think is something that used to be sought after. And so these are the moral structures that we grew up with.
Yeah. Also, I got to throw this in. I listened to the show called something Hollywood, but anyway, they play old radio shows from the 40s and the 50s.
Wow.
And in 1953, they were playing the show by Father Knows Best, which when it went to TV, they kept the original guy, but they got rid of everybody else and hired a new crew to play the daughter, the son, the oldest daughter, the wife, right? And in this one episode, they were going to go out for New Year's Eve, but things just kept coming up. The Bud needed a box lunch, and wanted his mother to cook chicken and potatoes, and mother says, "You waited until 2 hours before you're supposed to go to this to have me cook up." He said, "Bud, I'm not going to do that. Go in the refrigerator, find something there." And then the dad said, "Oh, I'll go help you," right? And so they got a bunch of canned foods and hot dogs. And said, "How are you going to cook the hot dogs?" He said, "Oh, I just put it in the generator." Because back in those days, they had these dates where the daughter, or no, the girls would pick one of the boys, and then the boy would have the box lunch, and then they would share that box lunch together. Really old-fashioned, you guys, really old-fashioned. But and so the dad's kind of helping put together the boxes, but the son's picking out all these, like he's going to have a big dinner. And it's like, this is just going to be between you. And he says, "You got 2 bags of hot dogs that are not cooked." Well, I figured, well, she might want one too. I'm thinking like maybe she might eat 1 hot dog. I don't think girls ate like crazy like that, like some boys, right? But he was just, right. Then, so they had to get so the babysitter had to cancel at the last minute, because the little girl that the 6-year-old was going to stay over the night. She got sick and whatever. And so they had to find a babysitter. So then this young, handsome guy comes in. He's one of the babysitter, older ladies, they knew this guy, and he was putting himself through college. So he took the job to babysit the 6-year-old girl. Right. And so then when the teenage daughter saw this guy, right, because he was getting ready to set up this ping pong game to play with the 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old said, "You're very pretty," right? I guess it was handsome and pretty back in those days. Women were handsome and guys were pretty, whatever. And he said, "Oh yeah," he didn't really pay attention to it. And he was playing ping pong, and then the teenage daughter came in, and then she says, "Go away. He's playing ping pong with me." And then he says, well, and their both eyes light up, because this is a college guy and a teenage girl. And he says, "Oh, would you like to learn how to play ping pong?" And she says, "Oh, yes." And then he says, "Oh," but then when the father found out, he came in and said, "Hi, sir, how are you?" And he says, "I'm going to babysit your daughter tonight." And then the daughter says she was going to have a date with this other guy. And she says, the guy calls and she says, "I have this terrible headache, and I don't think I could go to this dance with you tonight. And I'm sure you'll find somebody else." But the dad was listening. So the dad says, "What's going on here?" And so the daughter, and he was about to let the guy go. So he went back in there and he says, something. Okay. Let me get back in there. He goes, talks to his wife first, and she says, "This is a young man going to babysit the child," and then our oldest daughter counts the thing, and then he says, "Yeah, I think I'm going to go in there and entertain our babysitter and this guy." And she says, "Oh, I forgot what his name is. You're just like my father." And a lot of guys were just like the father. They saw how their fathers taught them how to protect their wives and how to protect their daughters, right? And so he goes in a room, and here's a daughter, and the little girl, she's upset because they were playing ping pong, but now her big sister's in the room, and now the guy's paying more attention to him. And so the dad says, "Hey, let's have a team play with the ping pong." So that breaks that all up, right? They all ended. What you got to listen? They all ended up not going and just spending that New Year's Eve together. But it was just interesting how he had to run interference, because he says, "We're not going to go to a party and leave those two teenage people here unchaperoned." This is 1953, unchaperoned. Even though the 6-year-old girl was there, even though Bud had missed his thing because it was over with, the dad says, "No, I think we should call the other couples up and say that we're not going to go. We're just going to stay home." And I just love that kind of stuff because, maybe I'm, old school, but it was like when men were real men, dads were real dads, and all the stuff that the Democrats started in the last 50 years, which destroyed, where it used to be 75% of black husbands, black families were husband and wife, and they were able to flip it. And now it's 70% of kids born in black families are from single mothers.
It's interesting, Johnny, because another 70 comes into play here. This particular show, Father Knows Best, was 70 years ago. Here, and you're absolutely right. These morals, these old ways, they're not just old ways that these 70-year-old codgers like Johnny or 50. Yes. Why these are moral foundations that the country was
founded on.
And oh boy, I don't know, Johnny. It is going away, folks. But back, you can delve into history and start learning the things that made our country what it was. And we're not going to let these things slip, not without a fight. And we can fight peaceably at the local, state, federal levels. And we can start fighting at home.
And also, when your kids come home from school, deprogram them.
That's right.
Deprogram them, because they're filling their minds up with this critical race theory and categories, categorizing each other and saying, "Oh, you can come to school as a boy, but once you get to school, here's a dress in the closet. Here, put this on." And then, of course, with the girls, when they get to be at 12, they get into this thing where they are cutting cutting the breasts off little girls because they think they're boys. And they don't realize that once they get, because I've known tomboys, girls like that, once they get to an age where they don't think they're boys, they realize that their parents let these physicians mutilate them, and you cannot get back what doctors have mutilated, even though doctor says we can try to make something look like like you're a female, but believe me, what man can fix, it is never is the same. Whatever, yeah.
What God takes and he makes, we do not have the right, or do we? Just because we can do a thing doesn't mean we should.
Yes.
That's really all it boils down to is, what God makes. We can't just step on in there and say, Lord, you dropped the ball here. We got to figure it out, though. We'll make it better for you. It just can't work that way, and that's why we stand for what we stand for. We stand for God, family, country, these kinds of things, and they will not perish from the earth as long as just one person stands up for that.
Yes. And so what's going up? Hopefully, moral fiber is going up. But 30 minutes later, let's get to the topics. And we're going to cover the topics, but that was pressing on my mind right now. And so let's talk about that. Okay. Governor Polis and his cronies passed legislation that says, farmers, we want you to have cage-free eggs. That means we want a certain amount of running room for these chickens, and so they can be free and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to have to modify your place where you have these chickens. And so the eggs that cost $6 or $10 or a dozen, whatever, they will now be raised up, and you will no longer be allowed to buy any uncaged eggs in the state of Colorado, unless you know somebody that have some chickens, and they say, they give the finger to Polis. So this is one of the things that is going to go up in the state of Colorado. Did you hear about this?
Wow, we're definitely living in the day and age where you will own nothing and you'll be happy. I mean, $10, $15, couple of dozen eggs. I mean, that's just insane.
Yes. And hold on for a second. Where's my? Okay, here we go. And then now this is another sneaky one. Democrats and are always doing sticky things. They're calling it a fee. Well, you like to go to the park, like not the national park. And so he did something very sneaky. It used to be like a $87 charge to buy your ticket. Well, he said, I'm going to give you something very positive. I'm going to take away that $87 fee. What I'm going to do is, for everybody that registers their car in the state of Colorado, we're going to add a $29 fee onto each one, and you have to opt out. Now, he's betting that a lot of people are stupid. A lot of people are not informed about what these banditos are doing in the legislation. So some people will opt out, but a lot of people will just pay the fee. And maybe you might have 4 cars, or maybe you might have 3 cars, but you have to pay $29 per card for a parking pass you may never use. A park pass. How sneaky.
You get these benefits. And so he gets all these accolades for these benefits that he's giving away, charging folks an extra $30 on top of their registration for their vehicles. They have no idea that they can even use these quote park passes. They're not national park passes.
Hmm.
So they're not the Golden Pass where you can go to Yellowstone and all this. This is to visit what? Red Rocks? This is to visit like Clinton Park, or this is to visit like just some state parks, or how does that work?
Yeah. And they're gonna bring in millions of dollars with this.
Oh,
Because
wow.
because he's betting that people won't know it. Well, we Republicans will know it because we the ones that keep a look in the stuff. But a lot of Democrats and others, they're not gonna know this.
A lot of Republicans are not going to know this. This is this is not something that is going to be well advertised. I mean,
no,
they
not at
just
all.
their plates are going up this year or whatever like this, and not just their plates going up. It's they're paying for a park pass that they, number one, don't even know that they have, so that they can use it, and number two, because of the fact that it's not marketed in this way, they just know that their car has gone up. So, of course, next year they're going to try to come up with a way to circumvent the need to
opt out.
Oh man, this is ridiculous, Johnny.
Yeah, and they did the same thing when they voted in to have mail-out ballots. They just automatically register you. If you went into automatic register, and then Janet Griswold sent out 30,000 postcards to 30,000 illegals saying that you can vote. And it had her name on it saying, Janet Griswold is inviting you to vote for this upcoming election. Now they caught it and she said, then she had to send out another postcard, but she didn't sign her name on it.
Right.
So she was proud of the mistake that she made. Well, she was proud of sending it out to these 30,000 illegals, or not 30,000. Yeah, it was 30,000 illegals. But she wasn't proud that she had to revoke that. But anyway, so this is the same thing. Putting something where you're not aware that you got registered, and then they could send out ballots to all these people. And whether you live here or not, you're just coming to visit, you change addresses. This is how they harvest the ballots, sending it to places, picking it up and coming back in. So this is just another plan in the blue book of Democrats on how to be corrupt, as usual. So, also the minimum wage is going up to $13.65.
I heard that. That's going to literally raise the prices on small business, such as the price of eggs. That's going to factor in. You go to your small business to get your stack of pancakes, because you got to pay the folks the minimum wage to flip your pancakes. Man, it's gonna hit everybody.
Yes, and this is what the state of Colorado and other blue states have voted for. So enjoy.
Man.
Yes.
Happy New Year, folks.
Now. Oh, okay. Let's see. Something else. Okay, this next topic is business owners that employ more than 9 people. Ebola says he wants to take care of you from cradle to grave. So he's very interested in your little babies being able to be in a preschool. And he says, well, how can we pay that? Well, even if you don't have kids, we want people to pay for your childcare. So what he came up with, he says, well, let's look at employers. So you got the big box employers, and you have the little guy. And maybe the little guy has 9 employees, but maybe the little guy has 10 employees. So they're going to take a 1.4% of a percentage in the wages, and the employer will pay, and you're supposed to pay as well for the full year of 2003. And then at the end of that time, then you would have enough buildup where if you decide, and this is based on the employee can't go verify this or not. Say grandma's not feeling very well, and I need to take care of her for say 6 months, maybe 12 months. And I need to get paid while I do this.
Okay.
Well, you take that time off, then the employer has to hire somebody else to do your job and pay you while you're taking care of grandma or whatever. Or if you get pregnant, I need to take off 12 months. No questions asked. This is, 2024, small, big employers. But the only one that's are exempt are employers that have employees under 9. So that's gonna make employers that could hire more people not hire more people.
Wow. So these 87,000 IRS agents are going to be going after these small business corporations of 9 people or more to ensure that these types of rules are followed.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Wow. So they got you coming and going. So if you start a side hustle and you sell a couch for $600, you're, just doing it as an employee of one, but you got to report that to the federal government. If you have a business selling couches, but you employ 9 folks or more, and Johnny decides to get sick, or Johnny's mom decides to get sick, and suddenly you gotta go ahead and give Johnny's mom preference, which, okay, great. We got to take care of the widows. That's fine. Understandable. So we got to go ahead and we got to pay Johnny while somebody else is holding that job open for Johnny. Well, what happens when Johnny comes back and that person's holding the job open for Johnny?
You have to fire that person?
Johnny.
Yeah. Or do you wait? Now that's interesting. So I didn't go to that point. So do you keep the other person that you hired while Johnny was taking 12 months off doing whatever, or do you keep both, or do you have to fire one and return the other one?
What happens about, check this out, what happens if innovations in the couch selling business happen? Does Johnny have to then go for retraining for his couch selling business because great and powerful innovations have come down the pipeline that streamline the sales of widgets and technologies, better able to help the public to steer themselves to the best comfort experience with the couch? I mean,
yes.
There's a real big fat, you know what? We're in the wrong business, folks. Get involved at the local, state, and federal levels peaceably. There's going to be lots and lots and lots of jobs out there for the IRS and for the other alphabet agencies for the surveillance for all this stuff, folks. Man, this is an awesome money making opportunity.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could start a home based business today, and man, don't forget, $600 or more. They're coming after all of us.
Yeah. And I was hearing them explain that more. They said that this is going to be the higher administrative people that will help the 80,000 IRS people. But really, I think, I don't know, why is it not so hard for these guys just to make it a flat tax? 7% if you're in this income, 3% if you're in this income, and stop all the silliness.
I can't believe we live in America, folks.
You think that these people are getting paid crazy money. They got great health insurance. They get paid for the rest of their lives on our dough, and they can't figure this out. And I've been around for a while, and I'm getting tired of waiting for them to figure this out because it's very simple. But But if you're on the take, like Mitch McConnell, I think he's on the take, and all those other banditos that are rhinos, and what was another thing that people came up with? Oh, and the Uniparty, and of course those Democrats, there if you're on the take, because how do you go into this? You're making $175,000 and you, after a term or two, you're a millionaire, and or you got two houses making only $175,000 a year. Something doesn't add up. And I bet you the IRS is not going to be looking in their income like they're trying to expose Donald Trump's income as a private citizen businessman, saying, well, he didn't pay a lot of taxes this year, because he hired the same people that Hillary Clinton, Biden team, the same people to get these tax write-offs. He knows that's how you get to be a billionaire. You don't get to be a billionaire by being stupid. You get to be a billionaire because you hire people that are smart to do your taxes and get you all the exemptions you can. Now, what he didn't, when he did pay the low in taxes one year, in the next year, it'll be higher because he had you have to count the loss that you had in 1 year. So they're trying to make it look like, well, look, he didn't pay his taxes. But I hope he doesn't take the bait. I hope he goes back like he did during those debates with Hillary Clinton and say, I'm doing the same thing that Biden is doing, Obama's doing, Hillary Clinton did with her foundation, and put that out instead of getting mad and striking back, and because that's what they want you to do. They want you to react without thinking.
Well, I think what has happened is this: all of this coming out has awakened the public to the fact that this stuff is going on, and it's only a matter of time before the public says, if you're going to be doing this to the private citizen, if you're going to be weaponizing the IRS to come after $600 or more in couch sales, boy, it might be time to kind of open up your own business dealings here. And we'll find out exactly how much money you've been making, because Republican or Democrat, people are going to start hurting here. And those Nancy Pelosi's and these folks that just eat ice cream all the live long day and drink Jack Daniels while they craft our laws and govern us, it's only a matter of time before there is accountability. And we have to start that accountability at the local level, and at the state level.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. I know it took long because I just got on that rampage of just traditional godly kind of things. So we got on that thing. But hey, if you like the show, hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel. We left the last time. We had 4 new subscribers. And tell us what kind of shows you want to see. Because we're flexible. We like to talk a lot of politics and music and religion and stuff like that. But if there's some topics that you want us to cover, and I'll be telling you more about Amsterdam. My wife she's the best at picking out places to go, because I didn't know nothing. I heard about Amsterdam. I mean, we've been in the airport at Amsterdam, but to actually go to the city, they had these fantastic museums that we went to. It was a museum for the blind. Not a museum for the blind, but they had a guide to talk about the different things there. And I saw this World War II airplane, got to touch it and see, like the one that you fly and you just have your binoculars and your helmet, but you have no window in front of you. It's like riding a Harley in the air. And so I got to touch it and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just a fantastic time. So we'll have more stories about that. But hey, it was fun. So anyway, we'll see you guys. And I'm going to upload this to the TV station today. So this will be on channel 56 as well. And we'll see you guys later on.
Folks.
Yeah. God